recording. And we're going to share my screen with sound. So the training that we're doing tonight is the Colorado Shooting Sports Safety Training. It is a training that we have set up for all of the kids throughout the state of Colorado, so that everybody's getting the same information. So welcome. It's going to ask us to do some pledges here in a minute. So just so you guys are aware, okay?
Welcome to Colorado 4-H Shooting Sports. We are excited to have you as a part of Colorado 4-H and are glad to have you taking the opportunity to learn more about 4-H shooting sports
Try this again.
And safety from your 4-H Extension agent and certified leaders.
Carly, we cannot hear you.
All right, we're going to pause and start back over. So let's all do our pledges. And I'm going to stop sharing and then we'll go back. So we're going to pause for a second on this record as soon as I can find my button. All right, so let's do the American pledge. So if you want to stand up, you can. We're going to do our American pledge. Can you guys see it on the screen? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so I have the 4-H pledge on the screen. We're going to do it next. So it's I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. All right.
We learned how to count to 10 in French today. Good. Oh, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So what is the 4-H Shooting Sports Project about? Well, 4-H Shooting Sports officially started in 1980 in Texas in the living room of Tom Davidson, then State 4-H Director. From that humble beginning, it has grown to reach more than 300,000 young people per year in the United States. In order to reach that number of youth per year, there are more than 18,000 trained 4-H volunteers who serve as 4-H shooting sports instructors at the local level. It is important to remember that the 4-H program in Colorado is managed and directed through Colorado State University and your local CSU Extension office. 4-H shooting sports instructors receive the highest level of training of any program area in 4-H. Colorado requires a minimum of 15 hours of training and certification. The training is supported by a national curriculum. The 7 shooting disciplines found in the 4-H Shooting Sports Project include rifle, shotgun, archery, muzzleloading, pistol, hunting and outdoor skills, and Western Heritage. The Western Heritage Project truly brings history to life, as members are in period dress and shoot a course to fire at still targets with pistol, rifle, and shotgun in a timed event. There are some things that make the 4-H shooting sports program different from other youth shooting programs. The 6 areas that the 4-H program focus on that make us different include the first shot. Introduction of young people and their family members in many cases is our specialty. 4-H trains their instructors to safely and effectively have a young person take their first shot within 30 minutes. This introduction is many times the start to a lifelong interest in shooting sports. Each year, more than 5,000 new 4-H volunteer leaders are trained and certified at state-level 4-H shooting sports workshops across the nation. Colorado offers 4 instructor certification workshops in the winter and springtime of each year. After attending one of these 15-hour certifications, a 4-H shooting sports instructor is able to teach 4-H members at the county level. Be aware that Colorado requires that you are a current, trained, and screened 4-H volunteer before you can attend a 4-H shooting sports instructor certification workshop. Contact your county CSU Extension Office and your 4-H agent for the times and locations of the 4-H shooting sports instructor certification workshops. One of the skills gained by anyone who becomes a certified 4-H shooting sports instructor is the ability to teach adults to teach kids. The first step in this process is to understand how young people learn. To understand the physical, emotional, and cognitive skills of kids at different age levels affect their ability to learn is the first step. Next, we must impart that knowledge as we teach other adults to work effectively with kids. Safety. When speaking of safety, let's look at the record. In the 35-year period from 1980 to 2015, there have been more than 150 billion volunteer contact hours made by 4-H shooting sports instructors to 4-H youth. In that same period, there have only been a handful of injuries documented in the 4-H shooting sports program. None of them fatal, none of them catastrophic. Shooting sports is one of the safest 4-H projects there is. There are many life skills taught and learned in the 4-H shooting sports program. Skills such as teamwork, self-discipline, personal safety, critical thinking, and yes, even record keeping are just a few of the key life skills acquired by 4-H members in the shooting sports project. And a life skill that cuts across all 4-H projects is the concept of community service. 4-H members are 3 times more likely to contribute to the community than their non-4-H peers. All of these core concepts lead to the bottom line, positive youth development. That's what happens in 4-H, and that's what drives our program. Before we give you more specifics on safety and each discipline, we must share with you the 4-H shooting sports priority pyramid. At the top of the pyramid, competition may be seen by many people as the objective of the 4-H shooting sports program. And while it is an appropriate part of the youth development activity, it is not the major objective of the program. It actually occupies a relatively small space on the priority pyramid model. Even though it's at the top, it's not the priority. Recreation does occupy the middle and a larger portion of the model than competition. Recreation is the hook that keeps the kids coming back. If it's not fun, young people will vote with their feet and go somewhere that is fun. Recreation also points out the fact that this truly is a family activity that keeps families together and families close. The foundation of this program, the one thing that occupies the largest area of this model, is education. While positive youth development and life skills occur at all levels of this model, the main message of this model is for the program focus and priority to be on education, not competition. In order for the land-grant university to be involved in the shooting sports activity, education must be the foundation of the program. There is one major concept that I want to share. This concept is understood by all 4-H shooting sports instructors. We don't focus on making champion shooters. We focus on making champion kids. It looks like I missed somebody in introduction. So Cody, we'll come back to you and get you introduced. So we're going to talk about specifics to Garfield County and some of our shooting sports programs. So we have lots of leaders in many disciplines. We have a lot of archery leaders. Jake Berger is our lead archery instructor for the rifle range. We have some shotgun instructors. Tom Slappy and Jason Shoup are our lead instructors for our shotgun range. Rifle instructors, and this is for air rifle and 22 rifle. Jason and Peter have been our leads, and Andrea is stepping up to work on the 22 range as Jason and Peter are working towards the air rifle range more. Also on the rifle range helping out this year are going to be Dan Niles and Wendy Olson stepping up in some of those lead roles. Our pistol instructors for this year, we're going to have Peter Stewart, and I believe we have Mr. Erpstead getting ready to head to pistol instructor training to help us out there on our range and rifle. Candy has been one of our lead instructors there. Muzzle loading instructors, our lead instructor is Jack Stewart. And in Western Heritage, Peter and Jason and John are all equal lead instructors for the Western Heritage Project. You should have received an email with the lead instructors' names and phone numbers in case you have more questions that you want to specifically ask of that instructor. I've got to turn off annotation. Somebody is writing on the screen. I've learned about how to do this. Yes. You have a question?
I didn't catch the archery leaders.
Archery is Jake Bergener. So your mom would have got an email with his name on it and phone number of how to reach him. Okay?
Okay.
So some of our county expectations here in Garfield County is to participate in this safety training. So it's important that we always participate in a safety training. You can renew it every year, but you're required to do it for your first year in. Practices, if you are in one discipline, you have to make a minimum of 5 practices. If you're in more than one discipline, you have to make 3 practices per discipline. Most of you guys are just in one discipline, so you're going to be required to make 5 practices. And you also want to participate in your club meetings. That's why I had you guys introduce your club. So Cody, since I skipped you in introductions, can you please introduce yourself and introduce the club that you're part of so we can talk about that real quick?
My name is Cody Roman, and this is my first year. I'm doing 22 in shotgun, and I am Rugged Desperados Club.
So if you heard Cody, he said he's in Rugged Desperados. Some of you are in Morrisana Mesa. Some of you are in Future Sportsmen. There's a lot of different clubs that we have shooting sports in. So you're required to make 50% of your regular club meetings and participate in your club activities, which will include community service, giving a demonstration or a talk. So those are things that are important for you. So you want to participate in your club meetings as well as certified shooting sports practices. We have lots of leadership opportunities within 4-H. So leadership could be stepping up to be a club officer. It could be a council officer. It could be a junior leader or a shooting sports junior leader. So this year we have a couple of senior members who are going to shooting sports leaders training. So they have to be 14 or older to learn about how to be an instructor and help out on the line. They can't run a line, but they can help provide instruction. And again, it's 5 practices you have to make for one discipline or 3 practices for each discipline over one. And I know that Mr. Silas was doing more than one this year. That was one of his questions. Hopefully that helps answer your question. The other thing you have to, thank you, is you have to do a demonstration or a talk. At some of your club meetings, you may not be able to bring your firearm, but you might be able to bring a bow and talk about the parts of your bow. But you want to give a presentation about your project, about your shooting sports project. And then there's also a county fair display and a state fair. So other parts you have to do is if you're in more than one project, you have to pick that one project And are you going to make a display board that's educational to tell everybody about your project? So if you're in 22 rifle, your display board would be about 22 rifle. If you're in archery, it would be about archery. Or you can make a standalone project. So for county fair, some of the standalone projects we see for rifle, whether air or 22, are shooting blocks, which come in handy to help you align where your targets are and where your ammo is going down the range in case a ceasefire is called. For archery, a lot of people make quiver holders so that they have a place to keep their arrows with them. And then you want to complete your record book. And when we're talking about completing your record book, we are talking about, I'm going to show you. I have it here somewhere. I know that. Record book. So you should be, did I share another screen? I can't see where my screen went. I will show you your record book at the end. I'm not finding my screen right yet. So we're going to keep going with the presentation. So safety rules we have to apply to. Everybody signed a 4-H code of conduct when you enrolled in 4-H. And that says that you're going to abide by the rules. The biggest rules is the rules of the shooting sports program, dress code. And in shooting sports, we have a specific dress code of what we're expecting out on the range, as well as the range facilities. You must be courteous and respectful and adhere to all the principal rules of safety. So our biggest dress code is making sure you're wearing closed-toed shoes. Flip-flops and sandals are not allowed on any range, whether it's indoors or outdoors. It's best if we're at the outdoor range that you're wearing jeans or pants, long pants, because as we get into summer, some of the no-see-ums come out and they like to bite us. And it's also good if you wear a shirt that has a high collar, especially if you're in 22, so that when you're injecting your empty ammo casings, nothing can come back and burn you. So that's important. Equipment, you want a carrying case for your firearm or your bow. It's required for all firearms to have a carrying case. Your bow, it's optional for. You also will need eye and ear protection for many of your disciplines. Eye protection is required for all disciplines except for archery, and ear protection is required for all disciplines except for air and archery. And we have a question, a couple of questions. Do we have a 22 cricket? If you have a 22 cricket, Cody, let's talk about that for your 22 rifle. You can use a cricket. It's just a little more challenging sometimes to get it to work, but we do have that, and we do have some club guns. Another question that came in is,
Okay, so what I'm asking is, I don't have a 22 cricket. Is it okay if I use like a bolt action that holds a clip but only load one bullet in?
that is perfectly acceptable, and it's actually better than a 22 cricket. So
Okay.
that'll make it much easier for you. Not a problem. That's easy to do.
Okay.
Zalis asked, if you're doing 2 disciplines, do you have to do 2 project poster boards and standalone? No, you only have to do 1.
Okay.
All right. Any questions on safety rules? We're going to go on to range rules. So range rules, we have a safe direction in the range. When you're at the range with your firearm should be pointed downrange or up in the air. Those are our 2 safe directions. So what are the safe directions? Zalis, what are they?
It's either downrange or it's up in the air.
Thank you very much. Firearms. All of our firearms have to have a CBI. And I'm going to pull a firearm that I have brought out tonight. And I don't know if you can see, I have this little orange tag. coming out the end of my barrel? Do you guys see that? That is called a CBI, which is a clear bore indicator. And that clear bore indicator goes inside my action and out my barrel. Do you guys see that? So all of our firearms, including shotguns, should have a clear bore indicator. Shotguns is a little bit different how we put our clear bore indicator in it, but all of our firearms have a clear bore indicator. You should have eye protection. So if you have prescription glasses, you must wear them for shooting sports. I want you to be able to see. You can put safety sides on them if you want, especially if you're in .22 rifle, that might be helpful for you. Or you can get the goggles that go over them if you would like. Everybody else, you would be wearing safety glasses. Ear protection. So you can wear the ear protection that goes inside your ears, or you can wear the ear muffs for all firearm. So everything but archery and air has to wear ear protection. Everyone but archery has to wear eye protection. Does that make sense? One of the pieces of equipment that's not on here that you're going to be bringing to range with you this year is a mask. Okay, so bring your mask in case that you're having problems with your firearm and a certified leader has to get close. They're going to have their mask, and I want you guys to have your mask at the range. Closed-toed shoes, tennis shoes. Work great. Boots work great. Short or long sleeve shirts. If you wear even a 3/4 length shirt, the longer your shirts are, the less likely that the mosquitoes will get to you. Long pants. Things to bring with you at the range. Your water bottle. Bug spray. I see a question from, I think it's Lucas. Lucas, ask.
Yes, neither me nor my brother can wear a mask. So how does that factor in?
That's okay. We need to know that. So when you're on the range, the instructor knows. So when you come to the range, we just need to know that. But we will make sure the instructors always have a mask if you have problems. Okay? And we're spacing everybody 6 feet apart.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Asher.
Does a bow need a CBI?
Bow does not need a CBI.
Okay. My brother really wanted to know.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good.
Oh, also, will this work for shooting sports? It's just a little like I don't know what it's called, like a swallow or something.
It's a recurve.
Not a swallow, but I don't know. A recurve, yeah, a recurve.
Yes,
But
you can use a recurve for archery.
okay.
And I have a question from Mr. Foster.
Do you have to have a case for airsoft?
You should have a case for your airsoft, for your air rifle or your air pistol. And all of your cases should have some kind of arrow on it, and you can use a magic marker and actually draw an arrow on your case. Not that you guys can see that. See my arrow? You can draw an arrow on your case. You can use tape to put an arrow on it, unless it's a special case that has a shape of a rifle, just so we know where the muzzle end of your rifle is. And I see a question here, something about safety glasses, and Alice answered that, so if that works for you. So bug spray, sunscreen, supplies specific for your discipline. Waylon, you have a question?
Yes. So like if I'm borrowing an air pistol from you guys, would I need to buy a case for that?
Nope. Mr. Jason will be bringing that air pistol to every practice already in a case.
Okay, thank you.
So that'll be the leader's responsibility if you're borrowing club firearms.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's also good to have wet wipes or something to clean your hands after you finish practice. because most of the time after you finish practice, you guys are hungry and you're eating snacks. So I'd like for you to have something to wash your hands. It could be wet wipes. It could, something in your bag. So some quick range rules. We do not allow dogs or pets on the range. Some animals do get spooked around firearms, and we want to keep everybody safe. Mr. Worley, do you have a question?
I did, but you just answered it.
Okay. So just to protect the animals and keep everybody safe, we're asking that they do not come to the range, and it actually is the rifle range rule, and we're borrowing the range. On some of our ranges, we have berms or hills. You're not allowed to go climb or play on them. I see Mr. Forrest has a question, and then Cody has a question. So Cody, I'll get to yours in just a second. Mr. Foster, sorry.
So there's a range outside and inside?
Yes, inside range is for air rifle and air pistol. Everything else is outdoors. CBIs, if you do not have a CBI, most of your leaders can give them to you, or if you have weed eater line, that is what we use for a lot of CBIs. If you don't have that, if you could please send me a message. I will be putting my shooting sports box in my truck before long, and I carry CBI with me at all times. I also believe Mr. Jason carries CBI with him. So typically, most of your leaders carry extra CBI equipment with them to the range. So if you do not have one, we'll help make sure you get them in there. Ear protection. The best kind of ear protection is what works for you. It can be the foam ones that go inside your ears. It can be some that are special fitted for your ears, or it could be the ear muffs. It's what works best for you. Did I answer all the questions so far? Thank you guys for being involved tonight. I appreciate it. I know this is a little more challenging. Spectators, as our county opens up more, we're allowing parents to be at the range. We ask that you please stay behind the safety lines that have been established by the certified leaders. So you will not be on the range lines. You'll be behind a special fencing area that our range officers have put together for you guys to stay safe and the kids to stay safe. Plants and wildlife. We do have some really cool plants and some really cool animals that come through to visit. We're going to leave them alone. Sometime the deer try to cross the rifle range, and we have to call a ceasefire so that we can allow the animals to get across safely. Mr. Brandon, did you have another question?
No.
Okay. For people who are coming to watch for practice, or if there's an event, we ask that you please bring your own shade, water, sunscreen, bug spray items that you may need. When you come to the range, all the shooters are to leave your firearms in your vehicle or at the check-in point. So Mr. Foster, you have another question.
What if you don't have a case?
What kind of firearm do you have, Mr. Foster?
I have a Daisy Airsoft.
Airsoft. We'll probably have to work on getting you a case, or that could maybe be your shooting sports project of taking an old pair of jeans and sewing the bottom and turning them into a case for your airsoft. How does that work?
Good.
Okay. So especially at the rifle range, when we come into outside shooting sports, 22 rifles are kept in the vehicle until the instructor calls for you to bring them to the line. Shotgun, the range shotgun instructors will ask you to bring them to a table for inspection. So those are some specific things for those range. When you're coming into the air range, because it's indoors, you're going to keep everything in its case. You'll bring it indoors. They may, the first time that you're on the range, all the leaders will be inspecting your rifles or your firearms to make sure that they're safe, and will work great for you when you're on the line at the range, okay? So that's just one other duties that they have to do. So we just allow them to do it because it's to make sure everybody stays safe. It's your responsibility, if you have your firearm, to bring it, or if you're borrowing a club one, to make sure you've made arrangements with those club leaders to borrow that firearm for your practice. It's important to bring your ammo, your eye and ear, and any other supplies that you're going to need. And we're going to talk about supplies as we go through each discipline. Firearms that are used that you bring to the range, like I said earlier, are subject to being inspected, okay? So that's important, and we do that for everyone's safety. So does anybody need like a 2-minute break to stand and stretch? Or are you guys good to go?
I'm good to go.
All right.
We're good.
You guys do
I'm
this
alright.
all the time.
I'm good.
All right.
We're good.
So
We're good.
if you're good, we're going to roll on.
Look,
And for
Joe.
those of you who are in shooting sports, currently, I expect you to pay attention to this next slide and help me out. Ceasefire.
Ceasefire.
Stop.
Ceasefire.
Ceasefire.
Stop shooting.
Ceasefire.
Very good. Ceasefire. If somebody says ceasefire, I need you to stop what you're doing.
Stop.
Lay your firearm down, or if you have a bow knocked in your arrow, I want you to release that knocking of the bow and work with your leader to release, because if there's a ceasefire, that means there could be something hazardous downrange. Typically, it's our rabbits or our deer crossing the range, but it's important. Who can call a ceasefire?
Anybody.
Anybody can call a ceasefire. So anybody. That includes our parents who are helping us watch to make sure we're keeping everything safe from the spectator point of view. And they may be calling ceasefire because someone got hurt outside of the firing range and they need help. So that's important. So here's our next slide. Ceasefire.
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 Very
Okay, stop shooting.
good.
Put your
Very
gun down.
Ceasefire.
And what is one of the things you're going to do?
Stop shooting and put your gun down.
Stop
Put your
shooting.
gun down.
Unlock your arrow.
Right.
Unlock your arrow.
And make sure your firearm is pointed down range. If you have a 22 or an air pellet or a shotgun shell loading in your firearm, when a ceasefire is called, after you've grounded your firearm, I need you to raise your hand. Why do you think I need you to raise your hand?
So people
let you
know
know that I
if
have
you
a
have
loaded
a
round.
bullet in there.
Yeah, so people know you have a loaded firearm, and the leaders can help make everything safe. All right? That's important. So now we're going to go in some discipline specifics. Archery. We use whistle commands in archery. So 2 whistles mean you're going to straddle the line.
Yep.
1 whistle.
Whistle.
You have a question, Mr. Marinicki?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So 1 whistle means that you can knock your arrows and start firing at your target. 3 whistles mean the range is cleared and it's time for you to go retrieve your arrows. And when you do that, your bows are going to be in a bow rack. If there's 4 or more whistles called, that means it's a ceasefire.
What does straddle the line mean?
Straddle the line. There's going to be a series of 3 lines at archery. And I'm going to draw it on a piece of paper here. So kind of looks like this. So this is the safety line that parents are behind. So a lot of times we'll have 2 lines of shooters. So 1 line might be here and 1 line will be here. And then your target's down here. So straddle the line means 1 foot's on one side of the line, your other foot's on the other side of the line. Does that make sense? For archery?
Yes.
Okay.
What does commence firing mean?
Commence firing means you can knock an arrow into your string and your target's downrange, and then you can release it to hit your target. That's what commence firing means. Any other questions on archery? Okay, so nope. So the equipment we can use in archery we can use compound bows, or we can use what's called recurve long bows. So our compound bows are in 3 categories. There's limited, which means we can have limited equipment on them. And there's specific guidelines, like we can only have like an 8 to 12, I think it's an 8-inch stabilizer. You can have certain types of sights on it. And unlimited means you can have unlimited attachments to your bow. And a traditional is a very basic bow that you're shooting by instincts. There's no sights on it. A recurve is done in limited and traditional. So I believe Mr. Asher, you had a longbow with you, a recurve.
All right.
Which would it be a traditional looking? Because I didn't see any sights on that. And then the limited might have some sights on it. So that's what a recurve longbow is. Archery requires an arm guard that you would put on, and that just kind of helps to protect your arm. You can have finger protections. Quivers are required. You have to carry your arrows on your hips. You cannot have an arrow holder or a quiver holder on your bow. You can have it on your bow. You cannot use it during 4-H shooting sports. We use arrows with target tips, and it's best to have a bow case to protect your bow. It's not required, it's just best.
Wait, but I have a question.
Okay, Asher.
Wouldn't it be like this, like your arrow on your hips? So first you want to cover the point and then hold it.
So you
like
have 5 arrows with you, 4 to 5 arrows, depending on what you're shooting. So you have to have a holder to carry them in. So it could be like a leather pouch. It could be like a PVC pipe that you're covering that's putting your arrows in, that has a belt strap on it, so that you can carry all of your arrows with you at once in a safe space. Does that make sense? All right, Sunshine family, you have a question.
If you have like a what is it called? Compound bow, and you have a little case on the side that like there's holds your arrows. Yeah, hold your arrows. A quiver. Is it okay if you have a quiver instead of something hanging?
You can, I believe you can have it on your bow. You cannot use it for 4-H. And that may be a Jake question, but most of the time, Micah, I know you're an archer. And last year was your first year. But I know most of the time, the bows, some of them come with a quiver holder on them, but you cannot use them. And I don't know if Micah has his quiver holder handy by him or not. It might be in his storage area where he keeps his bow, but he has a separate one that he carries with him, that he has a belt that attaches through. So his quiver, his whole arrows are held on his side. You can also make it where it goes across your back, especially for our tall kids, but it cannot be, Zalis, do you have your quiver holder handy? I see that it's your third.
Yes, I'll grab it here real quick.
Okay, thank you. If you could do that for me so we can demonstrate, that would be great. So this is Zalis's 3rd year. He's going to get a quiver holder so you guys can see what one looks like.
I think I might have one too.
Oh, that would be good. Then all of you
Sure.
guys can share.
I have one.
I'll go grab it.
All right.
I have one on my bow.
You have one on your bow, but we can't use the one on your bow. So if everybody can look at Zalis, he has one, and it has like a little hook on the end. Does this hook onto your belt loop?
Yeah, or your belt, whatever.
Or your belt. So can you guys see that? It looks like it's made out of fabric.
Yeah, something like that.
And so your arrows go in, target point in first. So your fletchings are at the end. Myers boys have theirs loaded with arrows in it. Do you guys see that one? Let me stop share. You might be able to see better. And then Brandon has his right there with his arrows in it. Does that make sense for the Sunshine family? So even though you have one on your bow, we have to have them separate for 4-H. You guys see that better? Thank you, boys.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on archery before we move on to air rifle? Because I know some of you want to shoot air rifle tomorrow night. All right, so air rifle. So the commands are going to be competitors to the line. And when they say competitors to the line, they first want you to bring your equipment. So you're going to have a mat to lay out. It can be a yoga mat or it can be a shooting mat. The reason being is you're going to start laying, your first position is going to be in prone, which is laying on the concrete floor. That can be cold. So having a mat kind of is helpful. And then they're going to ask you to bring your firearm to the line in its case, and then you'll uncase it on the line. They'll ask you to remove the CBI. They'll give you some time for sight in. They will use the word ceasefire. Then they'll talk about the shooting, and we'll talk about where you find what the targets look like so you guys can see that. Then they'll ask you to remove your equipment from the line. So air rifle equipment. You can be an air rifle, it can be a CO2, it can be a pump. A hunt air rifle has what's called iron sights on it. So it has iron sight in the back.
That's what I have.
And an iron sight. So that's called iron sights or a hunt rifle. If it has a scope on it, there's a scope, and then there's a sporter that has peep sights, which are little circles. So other than this, you'll need your eye protection for sure. You can have ear protection. It's not always required, but sometimes our air rifles can be loud, so you may want ear protection. A shooting mat, which can look like a yoga mat, something to lay on the floor. A kneeling roll, and sometimes those are hard to buy or find, but you can take a towel, roll it up, and this one's not quite thick enough, but then you can tape it with duct tape and make your own kneeling roll. Binoculars. We use binoculars so we can check out where we hit on our target. If your air rifle needs CO2 cartridges, you'll want them. A shooting block to put all your pellets in so that you can remember where you're shooting. And then you're going to use 177, that's the ammo that we use here, flathead pellets. And they're also called wad cutters. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can look at my picture a little better here. So a wad cutter, and I know this is really, really tiny. It's going to be hard for me to show. So on the back of it, it looks like it has a little air pocket. So inside you can catch some air. I'm trying to get the light to hit it right so you can see it. Can you guys see that little hole in the back? And then the front of it is flat. And the flat part is what cuts the paper. The back part catches the air. Okay.
Are these the ones that you're talking about?
Yes, that's the exact ones I'm talking about. Okay, you're going to want your air rifle in a case. If you're going to be shooting 3-position or 3P or 4P, you'll have a shooting jacket, pants, or gloves. That's typically our really advanced senior members, and you're going to see them doing that. And they're happy to teach you more about that, but that's not required. So here's an up close of some of our air rifle apertures. So when we're talking about sporter, let me see if I can turn on my little pen here. I'm learning this stuff. So this is called a peep sight. And you see it's a little hole right here. and we're looking through this middle hole here at our target downrange. So it looks like a circle, circle, and a circle. Does that make sense? Mr. Foster, you have a question?
Oh, I forgot.
Okay, when you remember, you can ask. And then, so I showed you the iron sights, and you can see here side by side, we have the hunt rifle, which we use in utility air, and the sporter rifle. So you can see where this peep sight is back here and this peep sight up front. Okay, so that's our big difference between hunt and sporter, is the sights. So air pistol shoots at the same time air rifle does. So all the commands are very similar. The biggest difference is the equipment. So we had a rifle earlier, and now we have an air pistol. Okay, so much smaller. All of our air pistols have what's called open sights. So they're open on both ends. You have to have a CBI in all of your rifles and firearms. You can use spotting scope or binoculars. We use the flat pellets. You'll want your eye protection. Ear protection is not required. In air pistol, you need what's called an artificial support. So it's like a big beanbag like thing that's about 6 inches tall, so that you can put the butt of your gun, so the butt on it, to be able to brace yourself in the sitting position. Okay, you always keep your finger off of the trigger until it's such time that you have been told to fire. So you can have that artificial support or a shooting block, and then of course your firearm case. Any questions about air pistol, Mr. Marinicki?
Can you use a semi-auto?
No, you cannot in 4-H shooting sports. It has to be a single shot. Okay. All of our firearms are single shot. The only one discipline that does 2 shots is going to be shotgun, and they usually use it over and under shotgun for skeet, because they have 2 particular targets that they have to shoot 2 targets. And then Western Heritage. And Western Heritage, you have to be 12 years of age, and you've already had a done pistol, 22 pistol. So 22 pistol has some where you can shoot up to 5 rounds at once, which is a little bit different than others. And we're getting ready to get to 22 pistol, so I'll talk about the difference. But air pistol is a single shot. Looks like we have another question. Let me find it and pull it up here. Chat. You can use a semi-auto shotgun, yes, because you can load it 1 shell at a time. That's a little different than a semi-auto rifle. So in our rifle, all of our commands are the same. Competitors to the line, which is bringing your equipment. Then you'll bring your firearm, and we'll go through those stages. Our equipment, again, we'll use a hunt rifle that can shoot a 22 ammo, which is iron sights. You can use a 22 rifle with a scope up to a 4 power magnification. And we can use a sporter rifle with the peep sight. Eyes and ears are required. A shooting mat is highly recommended because you're going to be on the dirt. Kneeling roll, which will help protect you in the kneeling position. Binoculars so you can see downrange. We use 22 ammo that is called a target shot. And if I can open my box here, I'll pull one out. A shooting block is very helpful because you're going to be shooting 5 practice rounds as well as 40 other rounds, 10 at each target. Mr. Myers, you have a question.
For Western Heritage, you have to have 1 year of air pistol and 1 year of 22
Or shotgun.
or shotgun.
That is correct. You have to have, because you're shooting 3 firearms, and we'll talk about that when we get to Western Heritage, but you are shooting 3 different firearms in Western Heritage, and it's a timed event. So our 22 ammo has a round nose on it. You want a rifle case for holding your rifle. Shooting jacket, pants, and gloves are for 3P, and a shooting glove and jacket can be used in 4P. And again, sporter class or 4P and 3P uses aperture sights or peep sights. So if you have sporting sights or circles on your 22 rifle, you're going to be shooting 4P. If you have iron sights, you can shoot hunt. If you have a scope, I'm going to try to write this. What discipline do you think you're shooting?
Hunt.
You're going to be shooting scope, 22 scope. So really similar to air rifle, but it's in 22 rifle. So muzzle loader. It's kind of a fun, old-fashioned kind of shoot, but a muzzle loader, their commands are going to be competitors. You're actually going to be setting up a table long before you're setting up your line. So your first step is setting up your table. You'll be assigned a table for muzzle loading. And on that table is where you're going to be setting equipment. So that's going to be where your patches are, your powder is, your balls are. You'll be preparing your equipment. So you have to prepare a powder flask. You have to have a powder measurer, some different things. So all of your equipment is set up to a table with a loading. Your muzzle will have be placed at that loading station with a range rod in it. So their commands would be, you'll have a 10-minute sight-in period, and part of that 10-minute sight-in period is actually including loading your muzzle. And they go through it. Their biggest commands, and this is a competitor command, so this is important. The competitors are going to be saying this. So you as a shooter, if you're muzzle loading, if your first step is you're going to have nothing in your firearm, you're going to be putting a cap on, and you're going to say capping. We cap pointing down range, and we cap pointing at the dirt to make sure that our firearm is clear. We always start down range to make sure that nothing was left in our muzzle. Then after we've loaded our muzzle with our powder, patch, and ball, which is a song, and I'll sing it for you if you would like for me to sing tonight. Once you've loaded and you're ready to go shoot again down range, it's called fire in a hole before you pull your trigger. That is what you yell. And you do that so that everybody knows that your firearm is ready to fire. You can use a traditional inline. You can use an inline muzzle loader, and you can use a traditional muzzle loader. So an inline uses a 209 primer, where a traditional uses either a number 10 or a number 11 cap. Waylon, do you have a question? Okay. So muzzle loading, you're required to wear eye and ear protection. You're required to have a range rod. Your range rod cannot be made out of wood. Typically, we use a brass or aluminum range rod. You want a dry box to hold all of your powder, patches, balls, your cleaning solution, all of that. You have to have a rifle case to hold your muzzle loader. You have to have powder, patches, and that's lubricated patches. And you're also going to need dry patches for cleaning, and that'd be your cleaning patches. And then the balls that go with your muzzle. Most of our muzzle loaders are shooting what's called a 50 caliber, which means our ball is actually a .490 and our patches are a .10. And together they make a .50, which is a 50 caliber. So there's a lot of science involved in muzzle loading. Any questions on muzzle loading? And muzzle loading, Jack typically walks through each person to make sure you understand that, and he has some more muzzle loading instructors coming on board to help him this year. So he's willing to help you at any time, answer all questions, and if he gets a chance, I'll try to be there to help, but typically I'm checking everybody in. Shotgun. So shotguns, the leaders will ask you to bring your shotguns cased to their check-in inspection table. You'll either have a CBI or what's called a plug that goes like in your semi-automatic. Cody, you're going to have a plug that keeps that semi-automatic part open. And that's just to make sure that if someone accidentally hits a trigger and it's not, that way we know it cannot fire if we have a plug in it. Okay. So if you have questions or need to know how to get those, I can help you get them. Once a shotgun instructor inspects your shotgun, they're going to tell you to rack your shotgun. They will squad the members. So there's 5 members to a squad, and you're in positions 1, 2, 3, and 4. And position 1 has the most important duties. If you are put in position 1, these are the words you're going to be asking. Is the scorer ready? So there will be a leader who is scoring the round. So you have to ask if they're ready. Then you have to ask, is the puller ready? So the person who is going to push the button to send the clays out into the range. And then you have to ask, is the squad ready? You want to make sure everybody's ready before you begin your round, each of you shooting 25 shots. Okay? So you'll shoot 5 rounds from each position. And then you're going to make sure everything is unloaded and rotate, and you're putting in 1 shot at a time in trap. You'll rack your firearms after the last person is shot, and then you'll be cleaning up all your holes. We always try to clean up every night. And again, it's similar to when they go into skeet. You're going to be asking if your team or squad is ready to go before you start as the #1 shooter. And that's very similar to sporting clays, which is just a little bit different. The largest gauge that we can use for shotgun is a 12 gauge. Skeet and sporting clays can use over and under and semi-automatics just because they may be shooting 1 or 2 rounds at a time, depending on what range they're at and what the leader has instructed them. So you'll need your shotgun shells, your shotgun case, a shooting vest with a pouch to help if you're collecting your holes as you go to put them in, or to carry your shotgun shells for that particular round. You'll need your eyes and ears. If you're into sporting clays and skeet, you might have additional chokes. And then of course, which is specific to Garfield County, require a CBI or a shotgun plug. Questions on shotgun? Okay, 22 pistol. This is what some questions have been asked. So 22 pistol, we do have age and experience requirements if you want to do 22 pistol. You must be 12 years 4-H age, which is 12 years as of December 31st. And you have to have completed 1 year of air pistol. There are 3 different rounds. There is a slow firing round, which you're loading 1 at a time. There is a rapid fire round, which you're putting 5 rounds in at a time and you have to shoot within 30 seconds. And then we have a silhouette round, so we have Camp Perry. There's many different names for them, but they're slow. Whoops. Sorry. Slow, fast. That was like craziness there. So in 22 pistol, you can use a semi-automatic or revolver. We typically load 5 rounds when we're doing 22 pistol. Depending on which area we're shooting, but it's typically a 5-round load. You're required to have the Colorado 4-H Youth handgun release form with you at all times and when shooting 22. And that's also going to be the requirement in Western Heritage. You have to have a CBI, you have to have a case, and you have to have 22 ammo. And it's target ammo. Western Heritage is a timed event. The commands are there's going to be a loading station and you have to load your equipment correctly. There's going to be a place to place your firearms in position on a line. They'll ask if the competitor's ready. There'll be a phrase that you have to state to start your course of fire, and then there'll be a ceasefire. You remove your firearms to an unloading station, and then you have to unload them, and then you have to case them. So there's a little more involved in it. It uses 3 different types of equipment. So you're using a 22 period correct pistol. You have to have 2 of them. You have a 22 period correct rifle, which will hold 10 rounds. And you will have a shotgun period correct. You have to have the 4-H Youth handgun release. You have to have firearm cases, ammo. You have to have a period correct costume from 1860 to 1890s. You have to have created a persona, which is who you are in a positive way from 1860 to 1890. How did you get here? There's actually an interview where you have to talk about the person you've created, which is why you need a persona. You're graded on your costume as part of your contest. It's a timed event, so your time counts, how many targets you hit count, as well as there's a written test. So there's 5 parts to this project, which is why we've made it 12 years of age or older, because there's so much involved. We're asking everybody to be 12 years of age. You've had to complete 1 year of live fire in 22 rifle or shotgun. To do the pistol, you had to have done air pistol. Okay. Questions on Western Heritage? And I'm pretty tough on the Western Heritage gals. You can ask them. I'm very tricky when it comes to their personas and Colorado history. But it's a lot of fun. Outdoor hunting skills is one that the state of Colorado is working on building up. We currently do not have a certified leader here in Colorado. I'm noticing the next page has some stuff on it. I haven't updated. So we have county and regional invitations typically. We have state 4-H shooting sports, rifle, 22 rifle, air pistol, muzzle loading, and archery are typically all the same weekend in August. This year, that's currently slated for the weekend of August 21st and 22nd. And then shotgun and 22 pistol is the Saturday and Sunday of Labor Day. National Shooting Sports Championship. So if you're a senior member and qualify, that's typically in June. We typically have a county event. These dates I didn't update onto the calendar, so I will give you the updated dates, and I'll update this for the next time. We will not be doing our invitational in May because that happens to be on Memorial Day weekend and most people will be traveling. So we're working on seeing about moving that to August, just for a fun contest for everyone. Our county shoot this year, air is going to be July 9th. Archery and shotgun is going to be the 10th, and everything else will be the 11th. And that's going to be in some of these books that we're going to talk about here at the end. We talked about leadership opportunities. So for a junior leader, you have to be 14 and up and attend a discipline training. From there, you can become a state shooting sports ambassador. Once you're appointed a state shooting sports ambassador, you're a state ambassador until you graduate or resign. The state ambassadors talk to our state legislators about how important shooting sports is as a learning of life skills for us. You can also apply to become a national shooting sports ambassador and work at the national contest. If you're a junior leader, then you can graduate up into being an adult and working that way. So for adults, we have 4-H volunteer and then they go into the shooting sports discipline. Some of the websites, and I'm going to show you these websites. We have our county extension website. Things that you're going to find on our county extension website are going to be the shooting sports members reference guide, as well as this great organizer for first year shooting sports members. This is not your record book. It helps you organize, and I'll show you how to find those. We have a Colorado 4-H website, which will allow you to get to the record book as well as the rule book. And if you're going into nationals, there's a national site. So I'm going to stop sharing. Does anybody have any questions on this part right now?
No.
Okay, I'm going to show you these websites. I'm going to get them all pulled over here. So this is what the Colorado 4-H website looks like. There's a lot of stuff on here for you guys. There's a tab right here that says Colorado 4-H Shooting Sports. If you click this tab, it's going to take you to everything about shooting sports, including parents. If you ever want to become a volunteer and leader, the information about that, you can kind of see some of the weekends. For people who are already 4-H leaders and volunteers, our Garfield County training is open. It closes on the 12th of March. On this next page, you can find the state rule book, as well as a scholarship opportunity for 4-H members in shooting sports, ambassador applications, and what does it mean to become an ambassador, and who our current ambassadors are across the state of Colorado, as well as this youth handgun paperwork that you have to fill out and do. We also list county events, if there's any county events, and national invites. So here's all the people who have made it for 2020 National Shooting Sports. It was canceled, but I'm going to point out one of our members right here. Garfield County, Benjamin Smith. He graduated out of 4-H this year, but he qualified for the muzzle loading team to go to nationals. Nationals got canceled last year because of COVID. So, but we have recognized and honored all of these kids because they worked hard to get where they are. So that is one part of the state 4-H website. And I will open up chat here because somebody's probably going to ask me, how do I get to this site? And that way I can put it in chat once I find where chat went. Chat disappeared on me. Ah, there's chat. So the website for this is co4h.colostate.edu. From here, you can go into programs and projects. Shooting sports is what's called natural resources. And if you go into natural resources in shooting sports, you can find some overviews, information about shotgun, hunter safety. We like to ask everyone to complete hunter safety by July. The state is waiving hunter safety at this point in time. You can do the digital stuff, but there is no in-person completion. For those of you who haven't completed your hunter safety, this would be the year to do it online and take the test, because that waives you from doing some of the completion. Yes, Mr. Marinicki.
Can you use a bolt action in shotgun?
I'm not sure that there's a bolt action. If you have a bolt action shotgun, I'm sure you could in trap, probably not in skeet or in sporting clays. But I don't know if Jason's still on here. Can you explain more? Will that work for shotgun? Or is that something you want him to talk to Tom about?
I probably should talk to Tom, but yeah, it would probably work in trap. Skeet and sporting clays, you'll need to be able to load 2 rounds. So, but yeah, definitely talk to Tom.
Okay, so here is your record book. See where it says e-record right here? Let me pull up my pencil now. I'm learning this new thing. I love it. You guys already have figured it out. Right here it says e-record. If you click on that, it's going to open another window. Let me see if it opens up in the same screen I'm sharing with you guys. It did. And there is your record book. How about that? And you can start filling it out. So it's going to ask you discipline, your signatures, what projects. So this is a number of projects you're doing this year. This is all the activities you did that helped you learn, from project meetings to workshops to classes. So this is one class compared to your project meetings. So you would write shooting sports safety training right here. Leadership. For those of you old enough to go to LDC, it's free this year. We're going to be having district retreat coming up April 10th. That's an opportunity there. You might be a pledge leader in your club. All of that goes down. Citizenship, community service. So this is giving back to your community. And we have different community service projects. Each club has their own. We do range cleanup also to help the ranges who donate the range for us. And then we're going to be doing some collecting of food here in March and April is another community service project. This is where your demonstration and speeches go. I'm going to clear these drawings. So this would be where you would write that, your expenses, equipment inventory, and for your project that you're displaying, you only have to put in you want to keep all the list of stuff you've done all year long, but you only have to submit the one that you're doing for display. So it goes through all of the stuff. If you have questions about record books, I'm happy to help you. You have to have 4 pictures of doing your project, not necessarily just shooting, but of what your project is. So it's either your board, your standalone. Mr. Hadley did a great 30-second video last year about archery and what you needed to have for archery. So you would put projects here and you would write what you're doing. And then you're going to write a story answering some of these questions. And that's your complete record book. Any questions about record book? So we also have a Garfield. Let me see here. There's a, I already did. Hunter safety class is the same. Yep. Hunter safety class is the same across. So that's a Colorado Parks and Wildlife hunter safety class.
I'm doing 3 different disciplines. So how many projects do I have to do?
That would be 1. Do you like that answer, Silas? 1?
Yeah.
Just 1 project. Okay, so Garfield County, we have our own extension page, our website, and Miss Alice tries to keep it up to date for us as things change so that everybody knows. And I'm going to put that link into our chat. So it's garfield.extension.colostate.edu. So here, if you hit programs 4-H and go to 4-H forms and event, it's liking me slowly. There's livestock, horse, shooting sports. So that's where you can find this link to this member reference guide. This organizer, she's got the handgun release form here. She's got the link to the shooting sports and any state shooting information, all right here on our website. So everything is almost right there except for the record book. And I'm sure if you really wanted to, we could add a link there for the record book. But it's most everything is right there except for the record book. So what are some of these other forms that I keep talking about that Miss Alice has put together? I'm going to show you. So this is that shooting sport organization guide. So what it has in it is like, okay, this information will help you complete your record book. You can put your hunter safety card information in. It talks about how to get to some of your record keeping stuff, how to get to the record book. People you need to know, like who is your discipline leader, their name and phone number, so you know how to get a hold of them. It helps you write your goals and objectives and what you're learning, and it's per discipline. So if you're more than one, to kind of help you, what is it you want to work on this year? Kind of helps you keep track of expenses to fill out your, so this is where you can scratch everything before you do your record book, notes. But she's put in this wonderful calendar. So you can see August 12th is where we're going to start our first practice for 22 rifle, 22 pistol, shotgun, muzzleloading, and archery out at the range in rifle. Air practice starts this Thursday, and you would have had a sign up. So there'll be sign ups. You'll be getting emails to be able to sign up for your practices a month at a time. And there'll be different things, but you want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to practice. That's our goal. The shooting sports guide was another one that's on there that the leaders have worked hard to update to make sure that there's a lot of information in here to help you as families. So it goes through responsibilities, how to enroll, information about what some of the requirements are, how to get a hold of people. You even have your pledge here if you haven't memorized it, so you can carry it with you. But what does it mean to participate in shooting sports? That we want you to be a good member, give a club demonstration. Some of the things to be able to own, what are the requirements for earning some top shot awards? Again, here's the practice requirements. Where your record books are, what you're looking at for that. How to get to the range here in rifle. So some directions on how to get to the Rifle Sportsman's Club range. Safety stuff. If you don't want to shoot, you can still do a shooting sports project and just display your item. What does it mean to do a display board? What is the size of board? What does it look like? There's a new section coming possibly this year, which is about video. Micah, who is on, actually was one of the young people who volunteered to do a video to submit to the state to add that as a project. Other things that you can do with shooting sports, what are some projects that complement it? So if you're in shooting sports, something that could complement it might be outdoor adventures and hiking and learning about trails or wildlife, forestry, or sports fishing. These are just some of the 4-H projects that complement shooting sports. And then we have some games back here in the back. And then the shooting sports rule book, which we have all those links on that page, actually goes through all of the state rules that we follow at our county contest for each discipline. And you have the state shooting sports leaders right here. And 2 of them are from Garfield County, which is Mr. Jack in muzzleloading and myself. So we sit on the state team, and we're both state superintendents for state shoot. And then I'm going to show you what it means. So we show the positions. So prone, sitting, standing, kneeling, and then there's a kneeling roll right there to help your ankle be comfortable. And then you have the different classes, but the parts that are important is the targets. So when I kept talking about a shooting block earlier, one of the things that I know our 22 rifle kids do and our air rifle kids do is create a shooting block. So do you see how this has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? They make a block that looks like all 4 of these with these little holes drilled out to hold their ammo. So this could be a project idea. So you would put your ammo with the tip going down, and this one would be prone. This would be standing. This would be kneeling, and this would be sitting. So that if you were shooting this one, this target right here, you would pull that particular ammo out and then that would be empty. So if a ceasefire is called, you know where you left off on your targets. Does that make sense for those of you in 22 rifle? So that's what we call a shooting block. It has like 4 of your targets there and you've drilled holes and you can make it out of anything that you want, but that's what we do. And then this goes through every discipline. So you can read about every discipline, what the silhouettes are, what everything is for 22, air rifle. So again, some of the same positions, but their targets look like this. So a utility. So you have prone, standing, kneeling, sitting, and then you have a sight-in target. Olympic offhand has 2 10-bolt targets side by side. And then here's the target. So most of your air rifle targets are 5. So there'd be 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5 sight-in. And then the Olympic offhand is a 10-bolt target. So you can make a shooting block with it. Archery would be the other one that people are going to ask questions about. And that is like what kind of equipment, what's the difference between limited, unlimited. So it gives you what your draw can be. We could do no more than 60 pounds in draw weight. And then it goes through some more stuff about archery and equipment. So I'll let you guys read through that. Please use that email that Mr. Peter sent out about contacting your leaders if you have question. Waylon, you have a question.
Yes, so with the shooting block, is it like, do we have to have it?
You don't have to have it. It just helps you if a ceasefire is called, that you don't have to look downrange where you left off. Some of our leaders will have extras to help you. It just helps you keep track of, I only need 45 of these, not the 500 I'm holding. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Any other questions before we finish up here?
For air rifle, can I use this Daisy? I think it's a BB gun or something.
If it'll shoot the pellets, you probably will be able to use it. If you, in that email your mom's got, you can call and talk to Jason, or if you're scheduled to come to practice, bring it to practice with you so Jason can help you guys walk through it. Jason's our guru on air rifles.
But also
we don't shoot.
So I would go to both archery and air rifle.
Yes, you have to make 3 practices of each. And archery is not going to start till April 12th.
When does air rifle start?
Air rifle, some of the sign up has started for tomorrow. I believe they're full, but it's on Thursdays starting tomorrow. So you'll be getting another email, your family will, for scheduling for starting in March. Next week, it'll come out.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That's really all I had.
Okay, thank you. Anything from Tony or Jason?
Hey, this is Tony, and everyone, well, I'm going to look forward to seeing you at the range, and have a nice, safe year.
Yeah, thanks everybody for showing up. We'll go over all the particulars, you know, in depth at the range and each discipline. So don't panic. We'll make sure everybody's got some understanding of the shooting block and all the equipment you need. So, and like Carla said, just let us know, give us a call or whatever if you have questions.
And the leaders are really good about calling back. So parents and families, if you have questions and you need to talk to the leader and you can't seem to find that email, You can always call the office and Miss Alice can get you that phone number. Ashley, did you have another question there, sir? Mr. Asher?
I'll after I take my questions, I'll tell my mom if she wants any. I'll ask my mom if she has any questions. But can I leave now? Like
Okay.
after I get my mom the questions.
Yep. Go ask your mom if she has any questions. Waylon, you have a question?
And my mic's on.
Yes. It's my mom.
Okay.
Carla, is those 3 practices for the season or per month?
For the season, 3 practices per discipline.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like me to show my shooting block?
That would be awesome.
You're muted.
Oh, thank you. He made this so he could put the lid on it so he can fill it up at home, put the lid on it, and it's ready to go in his bag for traveling. Any other questions? You guys can always call the office. Our number is 625-3969. I'm extension 1, Alice is extension 3. So you can always ask us questions, or if you need to get a hold of your leaders, we put their numbers in the email, but if you can't find it, call Alice or I and we can help you connect up with your leader. If you think you need to borrow a club firearm, please make sure you call your leader so we make sure we have it at practice for you, okay? With that, yes.